If you've been circling the idea of Amazon FBA for months or even years, but every time you try to learn more, you just become overwhelmed or more confused, this video is for you. If you're looking for some passive income option or some guy with a Ferrari, I'm probably not the person for you, because my approach to Amazon FBA is how to build like a founder, not how to chase trendy products, not how to launch in the next 30 days, and definitely not how to copy somebody for something that worked for them 5 years ago. In this video, or if you're listening on a podcast, I want to reset how you think about Amazon FBA in the next 10 minutes and how I think building a business should be approached. Everything that I've seen online is pretty bad and kind of taught completely backwards. You see, some people start by teaching that the first thing that you should do to start an Amazon business is to open an Amazon seller account, or head over to a product research tool like Helium 10 and start looking for products. Okay, slow your roll. Starting a business doesn't start with a Chrome extension. So this might be why you feel so overwhelmed and confused, because there's information everywhere, but guidance isn't everywhere. So if you and I so far are vibing, we're on the right track together, stick around. Okay, let's start with the basics. What is Amazon FBA? The first question everybody asks is usually the FBA part. Well, that just means fulfilled by Amazon. And when it launched, it was so genuinely revolutionary because all of a sudden, anyone, you, me, a small business that didn't have some massive budget could all of a sudden start a product-based business, because with one fee to Amazon, you no longer have to worry about a warehouse, a distribution center, shipping, customer service, or returns. Amazon handles all of that. Okay, and then additionally, on top of all of that, you don't have to convince people anymore to come into your retail store or to send traffic to your website. You're stepping into a marketplace with over 200 million people shopping already. For some reason, that's the part that a lot of people gloss over, but that's the part that changes everything. Okay, so Amazon FBA, it didn't just make selling products easier or create this new business model. It removed one of the biggest operational barriers that usually stop people from starting a product-based business. Okay, so maybe you knew all of that already, but let me continue to put that into context. I feel like I'm always served small business TikTok and business owners, founders, packing their orders. It's super cute, adding a little sticker. That's just not a scalable business model, and why I'm so passionate about Amazon FBA. Because your job as a founder is not to ship boxes. Your job is to make good business decisions. And maybe that sounds simple, but for me, that's the entire difference between somebody who's approaching this as a founder or as somebody who's looking for a side hustle. Okay, so founders, your job is to decide what to sell, who to sell it to, why they would choose your products over others on Amazon, and then whether the numbers make sense. Now that means thinking about these things, margin, positioning, demand, and long-term potential first before diving out into some product research tool. Okay, and so we'll get there, but the top question that I'm asked at this point in explaining Amazon FBA is, yeah, that's great, I know that, but why do so many people fail? And let me tell you, it's not because Amazon did something. It's not because Amazon is too saturated, because that doesn't make any sense. That means that no business ever should be started anytime again in the future. I mean, tell that to Away Luggage. Luggage was just fine before Away Luggage showed up, but then all of a sudden they made luggage better, and now everybody needs to have an Away Luggage suitcase. I think people's biggest failures is because of what they're incorrectly taught online, but also where they start in their head. They think about becoming an Amazon seller, but not a founder of a business. The wrong question is, what product should I sell? The real question as a founder is, what problem am I solving and for who? Now, this isn't revolutionary or anything. This is how anyone successful in business would say that's how you start a business. But somehow this sell on Amazon world turned into something else. No. We are starting a business. You are a founder. So this is where random product research and trend hopping and third-party software telling you what to sell just completely falls apart, but keeps the people making Amazon courses in business. Effort over here doesn't save you from a bad foundation in your business on Amazon. So now this is where I'm so excited and want to introduce you to how I approach Amazon FBA as a founder, because this is the piece I've seen missing most from Amazon education online. I call it the MUSE method. A little bit because it sounds cute, but also because these 4 ingredients are required to start any business. M, margin. U, unicorn or uniqueness. S for search or SEO. And E, expertise. Let's look at it in the lens over here. Most Amazon educators would say, yes, look at margin, look at a product research tool, find something good that low competition. U, uniqueness, customize it. And we've all heard that, right? S, search, do your keyword research. Okay, you've heard that. I feel like most kind of forget about the E and introduce yourself to it at all, like your own expertise, but maybe your own biases incorporating into that process anyways. Now, I think you actually need to work backwards in order to start your business. Instead, I start with expertise. Not like what do you have a degree in, but what do you know more than any shopper? See, that could be some unique category that you know a lot about more than other people. Like something that just makes you a little different than the average person. Like maybe you have a bird as a pet. Maybe you're also a yoga instructor. Maybe you struggle with an autoimmune disease. There's something about you that you just happen to know a lot about some niche product. So my first step in this process is I got my founder's journal here, writing that down into one specific area, like putting all of your niche things on paper so that you kind of start to see this in a different way. Next is search, which is really just understanding how people search on Amazon. And this is free. You can just go on Amazon and start typing something in the search bar and notice what auto-populates there. You can also do this in Google. Okay, so then after you've written down all those little intricacies about yourself and these products that you happen to know a lot about, now you're starting to write down what are those search terms that you're seeing on Amazon other people searching for. Then comes you, uniqueness or unicorn. It's a unicorn because this is really where I go above and beyond maybe what you've seen other people recommend. And that is to turn your product into a category of one. You are specifically asking what is missing. You've probably heard before to customize a product, but that really just means adding a strap or changing the color. That would be a customization. Turning something into a category of one changes products that exist to answer a question or resolve a problem that hasn't been resolved yet. You've probably also seen people recommend going into similar products and seeing what the bad reviews say and then fixing those. Yes, absolutely, that is a great starting point. But I'm talking about turning this product into an entirely new price category even, which then takes us to the next one, M or margin, which of course you need to stress test this product and check the margin because a great idea that doesn't make any money is not a great idea. But my real approach here is turning this product into something that can create more value to the customer that even exists on the market so that you can increase the price. So let me give you a real life example where this stops being so theoretical and starts turning into example. So there's a woman in my program and we were talking about what could she sell on Amazon, trying to turn it into a business. And we just got to chatting and she talked about how she has trouble sleeping at night, mostly due to anxiety. She was saying it like she doesn't have any special skills, but based on this story she was telling me, I knew that this was something we could at least circle around. We talked about products in this having trouble sleeping category. We talked about weighted blankets. We talked about eye masks. We talked about supplements. And she, of course, was really well educated on a lot of these products because she had tried a lot of them. So naturally, the next step was to walk formally into talking about SEO, search engine optimization, talk about the keywords. But what was unique here is instead of typing in the words of the product, like eye mask or weighted blankets, we noticed how she, her own perfect customer, was organically typing into the search bar unique ways she wanted her problem solved. She was typing in wake up anxious at night, sleep mask for anxiety, light sensitivity mask. And all of a sudden, this new approach of thinking about herself selfishly and her needs and wants in this category took this seriousness out of product development and product research and back into the hands of the customer. Now, we were seeing several different relevant searches that were similar, and this, of course, showed that there was demand. And two, it showed us the exact problems that other people had as well. Now, this is before we've spent $1 on any product research tool. This is just heading over to Amazon. Now, at this moment, we moved into this unicorn or category of one. So the first thing that we did was read reviews on other similar products. And some of them she owned. There were some patterns that started to show up, of course. The sleep masks worked, but they were uncomfortable. They slid off in the middle of the night. Some of them smelled bad, or they felt cheap. Okay, so we know in the approach, the opportunity here is to improve on some of these negative reviews. But how does that take this product into a category of one? It doesn't. That would just be a better version of this product. All right, now let's not lose sight of the customer. The opportunity is to build a better sleep mask for this specific person, someone who's waking up in the middle of the night with anxiety. They want to feel calm, grounded, comfortable. Now, this is where the idea can start to turn into a brand, not just a product. And again, let's compete on price. Let's say this is a $14 product. How am I going to turn this into a $27 product from what I'm seeing retailing for $14? Maybe this mask has a small pocket designed to put in a little essential oil pad in there, or maybe there's some type of heating or cooling element in here. Maybe there's different weights or premium fabrics like a silk instead of the polyester satin that they're using. What, again, would this specific customer be looking for? Then from there, maybe there's different variations of that. The one for people who sleep on their side, the one for people who sleep on their backs, the one for a bigger face, the one for a smaller face. All of a sudden, all these thoughtful approaches start to become one product listing and with multiple variations, but you could see how this can also turn into a brand. Maybe there's some pre-bedtime ritual that can offer some other product before you're using this one. Maybe the inserts or other types of travel cases or something else that goes along with this can be sold on the side. Same customer problem, similar brand, now you have a business. And only after all of this brainstorming and projecting can we put together something concrete enough that we can finally then look at M or margin. And at this point, this is when I would recommend starting to use a product research tool like Jungle Scout, like Helium 10, or I like to recommend Smart Scout because that's the only one that I've seen that approaches Amazon FBA in a similar way that I do, which is building a brand on Amazon, not just scrolling through product research. And then we're looking at margin in a product that can it support ads, can it support returns and growth? Because again, at the end of the day, that is one of the most important parts. And this is why I think that order matters so much, because if you start there, then you are just approaching product research like how the computer is telling you to do it with all of these third-party softwares. And then you're winding up with some product that you don't even know that much about. You don't know that much about the customer. And then are you even really a business owner? So this woman I was working with, she's winning not because she got lucky finding some viral product. She's winning because she understands the customer so well because she is the customer. She understands how they shop, what they're looking for. She's going to understand her PPC ad spend so much better because she knows all about what keywords make sense because they would make sense to her as a customer. So at this point, I would say that you would have a product hypothesis. And then with the product research tool, you are testing your hypothesis. You can use things like the Amazon FBA calculator online and see if this is a viable product. And still, if not, if you can't compete on margin, then you need to continue to work on that U factor, that unicorn factor, developing this product into more of a category of one. Because I don't really think that there's just that many products that can't ever work. I think that you just haven't developed enough in that unicorn space in order to compete on price. So a little bit of mindset work here. You might notice at this point that product research to me doesn't begin with the numbers. It circles around certainty and it circles around you. And that only happens when you sit down long enough and think like a founder. And the reason I'm so passionate about this and so structured about it is because this is expensive. You can start a lot of other businesses. You can go out and make videos with your phone for free and become an influencer. You can create digital products. This business model has one of the highest startup costs that you can have starting an online business. So you have to go in confident. You're going to put in so much time. With this business model, you're going to put in so much money on inventory. It's so important you know what you're doing at the beginning. That's exactly why I created the Founder Journal, which you can download the first chapter for free on my website. But it helps you process all of this information that you're taking in all over YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and quiet the noise and start to think like a founder. Because your next step is not to jump into selling. Your next step must be clarity. And to that degree, in being clear, you do not need to pay anyone any money for any course in order to learn how to start an Amazon FBA business. There is so much information online that is free that you can use. And now, of course, we have the help of ChatGPT to ask questions to. If you only have the budget for your first inventory order, do not use it to enroll in someone's course. Use it for that first inventory order. If you're somebody that wants guidance, wants to build with a community, wants to follow a system of checklists in order to make sure they're completing steps in the right order, that's when you can start looking around to invest in some type of program to build your business along the way. Below this video or in the show notes, if you're only just listening, I've linked the exact starting point I recommend depending on where you are in your process. I hope your goal is not to just start something as fast as possible. I hope your approach is to build a brand on Amazon. It has been so completely life-changing for my husband and I over the last 7 years. And if you're interested in building in my community, I hope to see you over on campus.